Winter Bells by Penstroke. Chapter 12. Reconciliation. Let's run that line! Damn it! It's too fast! It went under the table! Scootaloo and Sleebell dove under the buffet table, sliding under their bellies as they disappeared beneath the tablecloth. The pair were chasing after one another of the one-layered brownies that Discord had created. The little squares of fuzzy goodness were fast, despite their short, squatty legs. Early in the party, Discord had caused a few dozen of them to go running off. Most had been rounded up, but Scootaloo and Sleebell found one hiding under the drink table. The brownie ran the moment it was found, and the pair of fillies tore through the crowd in hot pursuit. "Did you get it?" Sleebell asked, the moment she realized she lost sight of the brownie. Scootaloo smiled triumphantly and held up her forelegs. Pinned between her hooves, squirming to escape, was the brownie. "Yeah, I got it! Oh boy, I hope it's as good as Fab says!" "It better be!" Scootaloo said, as she and Sleebell took a seat beneath the table. "We tasted this thing all throughout the party!" "I wonder what makes it taste so good?" Sleebell asked, using her hoof to poke the brownie, which kicked at her with stubby legs. "It's like a normal brownie to me. I thought you would see the strawberries Babs mentioned she tasted." "Must be Discord's magic. She gave this thing legs. It's super easy to make it taste better. Now, how do you want to split it? Down the middle so we each get one of the legs? Or should I break it the other way? I wouldn't mind getting both the legs." "I don't know, Scootaloo. Look at it," Sleebell said, leaning in to look at the brownie more closely, as it shivered and struggled at Scootaloo's skip. "It's scared. Maybe we shouldn't eat it. Maybe we should just let it go." "Let it go?" Scootaloo said, turning to hold the brownie away from Sleebell. "Are you serious? After all we went through to get it? If we let it go, somebody else is going to eat it." "But Scootaloo," Sleebell whined, "just look at it. It's cute." "Sleebell, it's a brownie with freaky little legs. It is not cute." "Still, if you don't want any, I could just eat it all." "What? No, I don't catch it. I deserve a piece." Scootaloo smiled like a cat had cornered a mouse. "Oh, so you want to eat it?" I just..." Sleebell puffed up her cheeks, as if holding her breath would let her brain think faster. Still, just as she was about to start to turn red in the cheeks, she let go of the breath and nodded her head. "Okay, just give me a half without the legs." Scootaloo nodded, and began to pull at the brownie with her hooves, smiling with anticipation as the brownie began to break in half. Yet, before the deed could be done, a loud thump from the table above them. Sleebell jumped while Scootaloo flinched. She succeeded in ripping the brownie in half, but the two pieces flew from her hooves and fell to the floor. In a flash, the half with legs was up and running. The other half was gone quickly as well, needing only a moment to grow legs of its own before fleeing. Sleebell and Scootaloo would have likely heard a light, chattering laugh from the brownies too, but their eyes were instead focused on the table above them. The thump had been followed by two voices, and the ponies who owned them were not having a pleasant conversation. "But Cadence, I don't want to hear Shining Armor! I'm sorry, but I didn't mean... Don't lie, Shining! You meant every word. But just leave me alone, Shining!" Scootaloo and Sleebell snuck closer to the edge of the table, gently lifting up the tablecloth, just in time to see Cadence storm away from the table, leaving Shining with one hoof in the air. Shining, however, didn't go after Cadence. Instead, sighing and turning to walk the other direction, his head hanging low. "Well, what happened to them?" Scootaloo asked. "I don't know. They were so happy at the wedding," Sleebell said, as she and Scootaloo climbed out from beneath the table. "And did you see when they danced at the reception when Twilight was singing? It was so romantic." "Well, they aren't being romantic right now. Princess Cadence looks as angry as my mom when we got back for Twist's birthday party. I was grounded for a month after sneaking into Knix's castle. Still, that brownie's getting away," Scootaloo said, and she turned and began to look around the floor. "We better hurry if we..." Sleebell grabbed Scootaloo by the shoulder, spun her around, then put both hooves on the side of her face. "How can you think of brownies at a time like this?" "Easy. I'm hungry, and we've been chasing those things for the past 15 minutes. "But Scootaloo..." What if Princess Cadence and Shiny Armor stay mad at each other? Sweetie paused, gasped, then pushed her nose up against Scootaloo's. What if they get a divorce? We were their flower fairies. If they get a divorce, then no pony might ever ask us to be flowers again, or maids of honor, or we might not even get married. When they get divorced, the crystal ponies will be sad, and if the crystal ponies are sad, then something can take over the crystal empire again. If that happens, the thing that took over could come after the rest of Equestria. The elements of harmony will fail, discord will turn evil again, and it'll be the end of the world as we know it! T-Rex wants to revive! We have to fix this! Sleepbell nearly shouted as he shook Scootaloo. Scootaloo brought her up close and gently pushed herself away from Sleepbell. Okay, first, you've been spending way too much time with your sister. Second, what are we supposed to do about it? We're just two fillies. You're right. We need the help, Sleepbell said with a stomp of her hoof. It's time for the Cutie Marker Singers to become Merit Singers! To the kitty table! With that, Sleepbell sprinted off, galloping across the party hall to the low table where Nix, Babs, and Applebloom were talking and eating. Scootaloo followed as well, but only after piling up a plate of cookies for the buffet table. The two frowning pals were probably long gone after all. What about the crystal ponies that want to change the color of their houses? Do they use magic or just paint them? It has to be a special kind of paint, otherwise the crystal houses will look and say, how's the place made? How do you use crystal berries to make it? What other kind of crystal foods do you have? Do you have a crystal wheat? Do you have what it takes to make crystal bread? What does crystal bread taste like? Is it better for you than normal bread? What does it look? Oh, look, I think Princess Celestia is calling me over there. I'm terribly sorry. Just give me a moment, and I'll be right back to answer all your questions. Cadence didn't wait a moment after uttering those words to quickly escape from Sweetie Belle, who, for the past 15 minutes, had been an unending barrage of questions about the Crystal Empire, its ponies, its traditions, and just everything. She had tried to get away earlier, and tried to walk away politely, but Sweetie Belle followed her. All around the room they went, until they were next to the exterior doors of the ballroom. Still, the small unicorn filly pursued. The doors, however, were Cadence's escape. She misdirected Sweetie Belle to the far side of the room, then slipped outside into the cool, midday air of Canterlot. Never had she appreciated the quiet of the garden so much. She took a few calm breaths. She still felt the wintry chill fill her lungs. Let it calm her mind and body. Sweetie Belle was just a filly. She couldn't be mad. She just needed a break from those questions. Yes, a short break. Maybe once around the garden. Princess Cadence, I thought you said Princess Celestia was calling you. Why did you go outside when she was inside? Is this a Crystal Empire tradition? No, maybe. There was no maybe. Putting a few panicked steps behind her, Cadence stepped down from the stone veranda and into the garden. She followed the well-swept path through the snow-covered grounds, smiling as the sounds of the party and Sleepbell's questions fell into the distance behind her. The gardens were really beautiful during the winter. Honestly, they were beautiful all the time. But each season was like a different dress on the same stunning mare. A mare who could make anything look good. Snow and icicles glistened in the sun. The sky was cloudless. The few birds that remained in winter were chirping. There wasn't a care in the world. She continued to follow the path, the one clean path. Yes, there were multiple ways through the gardens of Canterlot, but for some odd reason, all the other paths looked like they hadn't been swept. Actually, if she was to be honest, it looked like some pony had pushed snow back into the paths. But what pony would go into the trouble of sweeping the paths just to cover them up again? It seemed silly, and Cadence just assumed she was seeing things. The path she was on eventually led to one of the more secluded parts of the royal gardens. A place where Seluna and Celestia liked to share an afternoon tea when their schedules would allow. A small but thick grove of trees hid away a gazebo from the rest of the garden. A place of private respite for the princesses who moved the sun and moon. It was also a place where she and Twilight would play on occasion. Usually, it was when Twilight was going to have a private lesson with Princess Celestia. Following the curve of the only swept path, Kate stepped up into the gazebo, looking around as fond memories played in her head. It looked like some work was being done. A tarp was covering the underside of the gazebo's roof, and there were ropes going here and there. Maybe they were remodeling it, or maybe they were making repairs. Discord free, Cadence could only imagine the spirit of chaos had crashed in on Luna and Celestia uninvited. Cadence? The crystal princess turned and bristled at sight of shining armor and Nyx walking up the path behind her. Shining armor stopped dead in his tracks and averted his eyes for Cadence. Sorry, we didn't know you were out here. Nyx just wanted to see the gardens. We'll leave you. Leave? But we just came outside, Nyx said, walking forward until she was halfway between Shining and Cadence. Besides, I don't mind if Cadence walks with us. But I mind, Cadence said. I don't know if Shining put you up to this or not, Nyx, but I'm still mad about what he said. Now, I'm going back inside. Cadence, are you out here? I want to know more about the crystal core and the cob. Sweet Belle called out from inside the thick trees surrounding the gazebo. Cadence dropped down almost immediately, as he was being hunted by some assassin. She then turned and panically waved her hose at both Shining and Nyx. Get over here before she sees you! Nyx and Shining did as they were asked, quickly climbing up onto the gazebo. They stayed still for a time, listening as Sweet Belle's calls grew louder and then softer. All the while Shining looked on in confusion, not sure why his wife was hiding from a little filly. And Nyx, she was doing her best to keep herself from smiling at how well things were going. Without Shining or Cadence noticing, Nyx turned and nodded toward a part of the trees surrounding the gazebo, a place where a pair of eyes were watching them back. There was a mountain scratching of a needle being put on a record. Then, from around the trees, music began to play. Very loud, jazzy music that made Nyx, Cadence, and Shining jump a foot in the air. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum! What's going on? Cadence shouted as the music abruptly stopped. The rustle amongst the tree trunks next to the gazebo, and if one listened closely, they could hear a few small voices. But before Cadence and Shining Armor could focus, the music came back. This time, something much more soothing and arguably romantic. I'm personally thinking the song We Can't Forget About Love from Return of Shavar. Little paper hearts, tied to strings, dropped down from the edge of the gazebo's roof. They hung in place, gently turning and swinging. Then, the ropes that were around the trio began to move. They were attached to the tarp that was covering the underside of the gazebo's roof. As it was pulled back, mistletoe began to rain down on them. Cadence, Shining Armor, and Nyx got completely covered in the green, festive plant, which abruptly made Nyx turn and scowl at the bushes. You were supposed to tie them on strings like a heart! The spool of string got tangled up, Scootaloo said, as she and Babs Seed poked her head from behind the trunk of a nearby tree. At the same time, Applebloom hung her head over the edge of the gazebo, having gotten on top of the roof so she could throw down the paper hearts at the right time.